Hello and welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, powered by Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. If you have any tree trimming, tree removal, or stump removal needs, Harper's Tree and Stump Removal has you covered. They can also do driveway work, build ponds, repair pond dams, deliver sand and rock, and can now do horizontal grinding of large wood debris piles. Give Keith a call at 229-314-2048 or at 229-938-2412. Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. They're proud to be the premier sponsor of the Integrity Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, covering local sports in the Southwest Georgia area, creating content that is factual, positive, and informative, promoting efforts by athletes, coaches, and sports administrators. Now, here's your host, Tim Estes.
Hello, and we want to thank you for making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. My guest today is the head baseball coach at Augusta University, a longtime friend, Coach Chris Howell. Man, this is going to be fun. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Coach, we started this program to highlight folks that have a connection to Southwest Georgia, and you have a connection growing up in the Fitzgerald area. I want to get started today by you just telling our audience a little bit about where you grew up and what it was like growing up to learn the game of baseball.
Yes, sir. Started out in Fitzgerald, Georgia, born and raised. Played my high school ball at Tifton Area Academy, outside of Tifton in Chula, and played for Coach Chris McAlpin, who was a scout for the Angels, and had an awesome high school career there. Then had the opportunity to go play at Pensacola Junior College. Signed there as a third baseman, utility guy, and then went to the junior college route. And when you mention baseball, for me, you have to talk about my dad, kind of just showing me the ropes, showing me how it's done, how the game's played. So, every time I talk about the game, I have to talk about him and what he meant to me.
Man, what a good guy. He was a lot of fun to get to know. And Chris, you and I met back in, I would guess, the late 90s, maybe 2000, somewhere in there, when you came to play for the America's Travelers. Coach Billy Nicholson and I ran that program back then, and we saw this shortstop that had a cannon and could be a great pitcher and team up with a guy like Brent Carter and John Redmond and some of those guys. And man, you had a great career with the Travelers. I'd like to hear about some of your memories and the friendships that you made back during that time.
Yeah, what a summer for me. We were looking to kind of get out of our comfort zone. My dad encouraged me to get out and try new things and go out and meet new people. And I'll never forget the trip to Americas. It was the longest hour and 15-minute drive of my life. I was nervous. I didn't know anybody. I knew Brent Carter because I pitched against him when he was at Southland. And I remember Brent calling me and saying, "Hey, you should come play with us in the summer." And so I got to know Brent, and I just remember that drive over there. We played at the old ballpark in Americus, and I remember the tryout. I remember one of the first thing I asked was, "Well, what were the colors of the uniform going to be?" And come to find out, you guys were big Auburn fans. So
that's right.
That was interesting. But what an experience for me. It was exactly what I needed. And, man, I loved every bit of it.
And you made a lot of good friendships along the way. Do you still keep up and talk with some of those guys, Chris?
We do. Facebook has kept everybody connected. And I've had a chance to keep up with some guys. And, I still talk to Brent a pretty good bit, and it's good baseball talk between us two. And it's important to keep up with those guys. That was a big part of my life. You're trying to figure out the direction. You're trying to figure out what you want to do with the game. And you guys gave me an opportunity to go in and just compete and have fun and meet new people. And travel all over. I remember those trips to Florida, and it didn't hurt that we were pretty good. We had a bunch of good guys on that team. So Chad Spann and John Redmond.
Yeah.
It was a good group.
Chris, one of the fun things, I got to see your parents a couple of weeks ago when you guys were here playing at Georgia Southwestern. And one of the things they mentioned to me during our talk is something that I've heard over and over and over again from travelers' parents, was the camaraderie that those parents built back then. When we traveled all over the Southeast playing the best competition, but we stayed in hotels together, the parents went out to eat together. That had to be fun for Sammy and Gail as well.
Oh, man, it was an extended family. And we look up, and I take my team to Southwestern a couple weeks ago, and the first person I see is Miss Joy Carter.
Yeah.
And, for her to be back at a ball field, man, it was great to see her smile and get a hug from her. So what an extended family for us. And it was open arms from the gate. And I remember the tryout. I remember the conversations with Billy Nick and those guys, and the professional atmosphere he provided, and all the assistants. And, it was top. It was first class, and there was a lot of good memories. Caleb Cright, man, he was another one. You mentioned bus rides, and he brought his guitar, and it was a lot of fun in those hotel rooms.
That's right. We're talking with Chris Howell, the head baseball coach at Augusta University. Our program today is also brought to you in part by Marty McDonald State Farm Insurance. They're located at 925 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Americus. Give Marty a call at 928-3686. They'd be happy to sit down and discuss your insurance needs with you. Marty can even do the discount double check. That makes sure you're receiving all of the savings that are available to you. As always, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. So, Chris, you mentioned you played some high school ball. You went to the junior college route over at Pensacola. And then you get the big break. You go play in the SEC at the University of Tennessee. I want you to talk a little bit about what that was like to be on college baseball's biggest stage.
It was unbelievable. I'll never forget my visit. I was at Pensacola playing, and Larry Simcox recruited me. And so I go up on my visit, and so they take you to the football game, and, they're kind of showing you everything. And Jason Witten catches a touchdown pass in the 6th overtime versus Arkansas. And I called my dad, and I said, "Dad, this place is unbelievable." And I said, "This is where I want to go." And he was like, "Well, have you talked to the coaches yet?" And I said, "No, I haven't talked to the baseball guys yet, but this place is rocking. This Neyland Stadium and football atmosphere is unbelievable." But the next day went well with Coach Delmonico and Larry Simcox and those guys. And what a stage! What a next step for me. And it was a lot of fun.
And then you got to play a little bit of professional ball. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was very fortunate to end my college career in Omaha. So we went to the College World Series in 2005, and went out there and played Arizona State and Florida. What an experience that was in the old Rosenblatt Stadium. So that was a dream come true to get to finish there. And then I got a call from the Angels for an opportunity to come out and sign with them and extend my career. I wasn't sure. When you're a senior coming out of college, you're not sure about that next step. There's a lot of really good players out there. So that phone call from them was very nice. And I headed out of Albany, Georgia, and headed out to Tempe, Arizona, to the Fire League where I joined the rookie ball club.
Had to be a lot of fun, Chris. And then once your playing days were over, I think the first place I can remember you being at was your alma mater, Tift Area Academy. Was that your first stop as a coach?
That was my first stop. I got done playing, and then Marvin Barton was the head coach, longtime coach at Tift Area, and he invited me on to be the pitching coach. And so I was the pitching coach for a year. I was trying to figure out that next step of what I wanted to do, and I ended up finding myself right back into coaching and right back into the game. And so Coach Barton extended a welcome to come join his staff. And so I did that for half a season. And then he retired
Yeah.
very quickly, and I'll never forget. He gave me the keys to the program, and he goes, "I'm gonna give you the keys and let you start your career and get going." So I'm forever grateful for Coach Barton and give me that opportunity to coach at my alma mater and kind of start this journey of coaching.
Well, you start there at the high school level and had a lot of success there at Tift area. What got you into the college game? Kind of give me that roadmap that got you to where you're at today.
Yeah, the first year at Tift area, we won the state championship. So right out the gate, I was like, man, this is special. The second year we were state runner up, and then you started getting the love for it and helping players and we had several good players on our team, and I was trying to get them to go to colleges. I was trying to help them out. Sunder McWater, all these guys were going to have the opportunity to play college. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, I don't feel full with this game. Like I feel like I want to take it to the next level. And so I began searching for opportunities around, and a door opened for college.
Tell me where you went and who you were with.
That's right. I got a call from Coach Craig Young at Middle Georgia. They were a junior college. They were the Middle Georgia Warriors, and very, very prestigious junior college. And he called me and said, he'd like to offer me the pitching coach position at the college level. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, this is that step, this is that break that I've been wanting. And I remember going to Cochran and seeing the rich history of that baseball program. And I was like, man, I just want to be a part of it. I just want to be a part of it and help. Coach Young was a legend, and he's a Hall of Famer. And I just wanted to go get up under his wing and just be a part of a great program.
And Chris, I think when you left there, you kind of went up and spent a little time in the mountains, didn't you?
I did. I spent 2 years at Middle Georgia, and got another opportunity at Young Harris College, where I was the pitching coach up there. So I went up there for 1 year.
Awesome. And a lot of success there. And then did you go from Young Harris to Augusta?
I did. In between Middle Georgia and Young Harris, I met my wife, and she happened to be an alumni of Young Harris. So as we were discussing this next move, she was very familiar with the college up there. So that made the next decision easy. Her brother was actually playing lacrosse at Young Harris. So some things started lining up, and so I made the jump. I did that for a year, and then Coach Eller was the head coach at Augusta, and reached out during the off season, and I was able to make that next step here.
Corey had no idea what she was getting into at that point, I'm sure.
She didn't. She was a college softball player for 4 years also. So she knew the game. I don't think she understood the whole bouncing coaching carousel. But man, she supported me through everything. So she's been right here with me, and now we're in Augusta, and and enjoyed it and had a really good time here.
We're going to talk a little more about Augusta in just a moment. I want to make sure you're aware that One Digital Solutions is your source for personalized tech-enabled solutions that help your business and they help your employees. They do this by fusing together things like employee benefits, HR, and financial services. They're a steward of business growth and of personal development. It's really everything all in one. It's One Digital. Contact our friend Will Peterson. His number is 229-347-6289. One Digital Solutions is proud to sponsor the Integrity Sports Podcast. Coach, you've been at Augusta now for several years. Kind of from the outside looking in, it looks like you're making a little more progress every year. I know you and I talk several times a year, and it was a little frustrating when you first got there. But, man, it looks like you guys are on the rise right now, both in terms of what you're doing on the diamond as well as facilities.
Yeah, we're making strides. It's been a very positive couple of years for us. Just excited to get back. And we're getting better players. We're getting facility upgrades. our administration, our university has done a really good job of supporting athletics and help push us to the front. And, just an exciting time for us and really positive right now.
Coach, I've always enjoyed being around your mom and dad. You talked about them a little bit. Sammy and Gail were a big part of our America's Travelers program, and we built a friendship. It was more than just a casual hello. It was a friendship that now when I see them 20 years later, we kind of pick up where we left off. It was also a pleasure to meet your wife a few weeks ago. And while we've kind of talked back and forth a few times on Facebook, that's the first time I had ever met her and the kids face to face. Tell me about this tremendous support network that you've got. A coach's life is tough, and we all know that. And it takes those people behind the scenes. Tell us about your family and maybe some of your friends that keep you lifted up.
That's right. It started with baseball and sports and growing up with my parents. My mom and dad have always been very encouraging, very supportive in everything that I did. I made a jump to go to Americas to play ball. I made a jump to go to Pensacola, 5 hours away from home, to play ball. And then I made a jump to go to Knoxville and play ball. And they're very supportive. And then you get the opportunity to go to Arizona, which is not an easy trip. But they've always been right there. And that's made this job easier for me in this profession, is knowing that your support system is right there. And then you meet Corey, and who's my wife now, and she's a mom and a wife that just understands it. She's very supportive. She keeps us grounded. She keeps us right there. This is a very tough profession, but man, there's nothing better than having a family and raising a family on a ball field, and watching those little guys run around after the game and really enjoy the game that I love. And my wife loves it too. It's some long nights out there, but she's right there every game.
You got to tell me about these boys. Now, one thing that was neat, Chris, I went and talked to them out behind the scoreboard at Georgia Southwestern, and Corey said, we sit out here because they played ball the whole game.
Right. Yeah, I hope they don't come down, so they might dart across the screen here in a little bit. I've got 4 boys. I've got a 7-year-old, Hayden, and I've got twin bullets that are 5, Hudson and Holton, and then I got a 2-year-old his name's Hunter, and Hunter keeps everybody ready to go. He's the little Energizer bunny, and he's the 4th child, so he's ready to go for sure. But they've grown up around the ball field. They got gloves, they've got bat bags, they've got the whole deal. They've got their Jaguars gear, and it's not all they know. But they're very familiar with the game, and we try to get them out there and let them have fun. And Corey does a great job of just turning them loose and letting them be kids. And that's the big part of parenting for us, is just let them be boys. And boys will be boys, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of fun.
We also are sponsored today by the Fish House and Seafood Center, located at 224 North Jackson Street in Americus. They have some of the freshest seafood in all of Southwest Georgia. Whether it's fresh fish, oysters, shrimp, or catfish in their seafood market, or next door, a hot meal at the Fish House restaurant. They're simply a staple here in Southwest Georgia for all the seafood lovers. Go by and see owner Mark Tyler or any of his staff today. Give them a call at 924-5177 and let them make you a delicious meal today. The Fish House Restaurant and the Seafood Center, proud to be a sponsor of the Integrity Sports Podcast. Chris, as we get ready to wrap this thing up today, I want to thank you for being a part of this show. And I want to let you know it was a pleasure to get to coach you for those few games that we got to coach you in a few years ago. But it's been a real pleasure to watch you mature as a man and as a coach and as a father and a husband. We preach to our kids, and I'm sure you do this now, that we don't care how far baseball takes you. We hope that the lessons you learn teach you to be a good husband and a good father and a good citizen. And you embody what this show is about. Coaches or sports administrators or student athletes that are doing things with integrity, doing it the right way. No question your parents have had a lot to do with this. But I want to give you the last word, Chris, and Just you know who you're talking to. We have a viewership of about 2,000 a week here, most in the Southwest Georgia area. Tell you one thing I would like you to hit on. We haven't talked about this prior, but you're a college baseball coach and recruiting has changed a lot. I get a lot of parents that call me and say, we've only got 5 junior colleges playing baseball in the state of Georgia. The 4-year schools are depending on the portal now, and maybe NIL plays with the big schools. For a parent that's listening today that has a high school kid that's a pretty good player, that 10 years ago, no question, would have signed somewhere, what's their best route to get noticed?
Yeah, first of all, I'm super grateful and appreciative of the opportunity that you gave me several years ago. You said early 90s or late 90s, man. That really put a date on me when you said that. So,
yeah.
But first of all, thank you for that, and I'll be forever grateful for you and Coach Billy Nick for what you guys did for me and the family atmosphere that you provided. Fast forward to where we're at right now with college recruiting. It's changing. It changes every day. You got to be up to date on what's going on. We had 17 incoming freshmen last year from high schools on our team last year. We were very aggressive on the high school end. We love the fit that those guys have in our program. We have junior college guys and we've had transfer guys also, but we love those talented high school guys that can come in here and make Augusta home. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for players that want to come here and put 2 feet in and be all in Augusta. It's a great town. It's a great education. They got a lot to offer, and it's a beautiful place to come to school with facilities and a program that's on the rise and excited about what we're doing. My words of encouragement for a high school guy right now, I would be honest with yourself. And to me, this hadn't changed in the last 20 years. I'd be honest with yourself and make a list of schools that you want to go to. I'd make realistic goals. I'd have a dream list and I'd have a realistic list. And I would go visit those schools. I would do whatever I could to go put my talent in front of those coaches, whether it's a camp, whether it's a visit, whether it's an unofficial, like a workout or something. I would sit down. I remember doing that in 10th grade, and I made a list of where I wanted to go. And Tennessee was on my list in 10th grade.
Yeah.
My senior year in high school, I was not ready for Tennessee. So I needed the junior college level to get ready. And so I was real honest with myself about where I fit. And I think finding the right fit is huge for your college experience. And just encourage all those guys out there, find you a place that believes in you and is going to allow you to grow and develop. And it's all about opportunity. Opportunity is everything, and experience is everything. Just encourage you to go find a place and reach out, touch base with that program, and do whatever you can to get in front of them.
Hey, one last thing before we go. I meant to mention this early. You said you grew up in Fitzgerald. Our current coach here at Georgia Southwestern, Josh McDonald, is a product of Fitzgerald. Did you guys get to grow up together?
Man, I've known Josh since we were 2 or 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. I mean, we played in the yard together. We played Little League together. We played soccer against each other. We grew up together, him and his twin brother, Justin. And a couple of weeks ago, we had the chance to go down there and play him to end the regular season 2 weekends before. And Josh is doing a great job with Southwestern and what those guys are doing. But to sit across from each other and coach, and we used to work out together in the off season when we were getting ready for our schools and our season. So a lot of history, a lot of friendship. And just proud of what he's doing and how he's going about it. But, yeah, we grew up together. There's no doubt. From the pool in the backyard to all the Little League games and trips, there's a lot of history and a lot of fun.
That's a lot of fun. Glad to have you, Chris, man. We wish you the best of luck in your career. And I hope you'll be willing to come back and do this again sometime. This thing's growing, and we want you to be a part of it. But, man, thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Coach.
And we want to thank you for watching the Integrity Sports Podcast. This airs every Thursday at 7:15 on 9 different social media and podcast platforms. One of the best ways you can help us is to go to our YouTube page and hit the subscribe button. We are trying to get to the 1,000 subscriber mark, and you can help us. For my good friend, Chris Howell, I'm Tim Estes. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody.